Look! There's no turret. There's no treads, even. It's a car. And I still have Transformers that aren't tanks. I can review things that aren't tanks. Oh my god. It's like a whole new world. But, like, seriously, like, I got to looking at the random reviews, and I try to work in variety. I try not to do the same series too often or too many times in a row. But I did notice that, the one movie toy I actually covered for this series is technically a classics toy, so I really haven't done anything properly movie. So we're going to do something that is definitively movie toy. This is Dark of the Moon Sideswipe, and the Dark of the Moon toy line was always one that surprised me, because it's not one I actively pursued. There's a ton of toys in that line I never got or even sold off eventually. But I was always surprised, because every time I picked up one, I tended to like it a lot more than I expected. And I realized that this is probably the only Sideswipe toy I've really, really liked. And I'll go over why as we review, of course, because that's the whole point of a review. But for now, we will take a look at the vehicle mode, and it is a super sleek Corvette Stingray convertible, extremely cool looking vehicle. My dad raised me to know that Corvettes were really, really cool cars, because that's all he ever talked about car-wise. So, yeah, the word Corvette's kind of burned into my brain, and I don't always agree, but I do like the look of this. It is super sleek, very low, very aerodynamic. It is a cool car. I dig this. And there I go with the D word again. As you can see, it is cast all in gray plastic, and it's kind of an unfortunate shade of gray. There's very little or no metallic element to it whatsoever. It is very flat gray, which really kind of does the vehicle a disservice. Like, I've seen Takara's version with the silver, and it looks so much cooler, so much better. And that was like Sideswipe's thing. Like, his vehicles and his robots were like silver from head to toe. Like, that was his look, and this is just kind of flat, and that's kind of unfortunate, especially because there really isn't that much going on detail-wise, or at least paint and color-wise. You can see a little tiny version of the Corvette emblem on the hood, and a few little vents up top, as well as the grille being painted in a darker shade of gray. And then you've got a little bit of translucent plastic in there for the headlights. That same translucent plastic can be found in the windshield, which wraps all the way around. That's a neat look to it. I like that. And after that, well, you've got tail lights. That's good. They're actually molded plastic, so a little bit of more effort there. And the wheel rims are also painted in silver. That's getting rarer and rarer, and it was even rare back then. But that's pretty much it deco-wise. Like, that's all that you've got going on for color. So it really did need that silver. Like, that really does take it down quite a bit. I will give credit for detailing on this toy, though, because that is pretty extensive. You can see all the details of the Corvette are molded in, and they're, for the most part, correct. And here's something I really appreciate. You can see a lot of the panel lines that are required for transformation, but a lot of them flow into the natural design of the toy, like things through here and across the doors. So it makes a valiant effort to actually look like those lines belong there, and not to distract from the vehicle too much. Mine does have some gappage issues in some parts. I can't really, I've wiggled this part around for a while now. I can't actually get that in there. But that's a minor point. What's really impressive is inside. Because inside has so much going on. There's a lighter shade of plastic in there that we'll see more of in robot mode, but you can see there's a dashboard, there's a speedometer, there is the nub of what is almost a stick shift, and of course there is a wheel. And as well, you can also see he does have seats as well. The seat is very, very far back from the wheel, but we will forgive it because it's trying very hard to put some internal details into this toy, which was a must because this is a Corvette, and Gives it kind of a mini alternators feel. Like, I feel like if I had a figure that was the right size, I could pluck that in there and it actually looked quite nice. No floorboard. Hi. So that's a little odd. It's apparently a Flintstones car. You just have to pedal it with your feet. But I'm a really big fan of the vehicle mode. And there's a few touches to this vehicle that I really appreciate. For starters, the windshields. Ugh. Yeah, I'm out of practice. Yeah, the mirrors are actually a very soft plastic that has been glued in, so these don't really have any risk of breaking on you. That's a nice touch because in hard plastic, those would be very susceptible to snapping off. Also, you will notice these little holes here that have been covered up, and those covers are actually spring loaded, and it's for the weapon. And this is the gimmick of Dark of the Moon, the mech tech. As you can see, it's a pretty heavy 6-barreled rifle with a scope because, when you got 6 barrels, you want to make sure you hit something. It's a nice gun. I really like this design. Very heavy duty. But the nice part is this plunger on the back, which if you push, flips out a blade. Now there's no way of locking it in place, so you just kind of ginsu this thing over and over. But you can also see there's Cybertronic runes engraved in on both sides. I like little touches like that. Gives it more of a ceremonial blade look. Very cool weapon. Again, if it could lock, even better. But you can plug it into any of those spots that have holes plugged up. As so. To give you more of like a classic G1 style, I've got guns on the top of my car thing, which is what they always did. And the nice thing about where this weapon plugs in and the design of the mech tech weapon, it doesn't get in the way of anything. Like, it still works no matter where you plug it in. So this goes from looking twisted metal to the most road ragey person ever, or someone who just really wants the birds off his windshield. So that's all fun. And I do really like that attention, because that's a lot of little spring-loaded bits just to hide those holes. And it gives it a much more solid look. So, we can take it into robot mode now, and we'll see how that solid look compares to, Michael Bay-style Transformer design. The first thing I'm going to do is remove a lot of this kibble piece. As you can notice, it's kind of all bugging out on me a little bit here. We'll rotate that down to get that out of the way. And I'm trying to wiggle all of this free. There's a lot of it's a movie toy, so there is a lot of pegs and tabs that you have to loosen up in order to actually get everything out and actually transformed correctly. So we'll try to do that correctly, because I know I have not done it too well on some of these random reviews. The downfalls of being improvisational. The feet fold out like so, and we have this big kibble to the back. It's kind of like debated if the kibble is supposed to be to the front or the back. I find it works better to the back, since it's supposed to have these wheel leg things going on. So that works a little bit better for me. Now you can go in and start on the roof, or the hood rather. And again, it's a lot of little wiggling just to get things loosened up and get them out. The arms will come out like so. And they go that way. This comes out to form the chest, and there's Sideswipe's head. We fold all of this down, so this piece tabs in at the waist. Clean up the back a little bit. There's a lot of little pieces of junk in this toy. So it's going to be, he's going to have a backpack. It's going to be kind of kibbly. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. Here, I'll get this out of the way so you can actually see how I'm trying to fold this up. It's not a whole lot you can do with it, really. So that's an unfortunate part. So we'll go ahead and just leave it that way. These you can fold up or down. I prefer down just to get them out of the way. I think they look stupid when they're pointed up. Here. There we go. We'll go with that. I know that's probably not correct. Someone in the comments is going to correct me. No, that's not how the kibble's supposed to go. It's a movie toy. The kibble is unnegotiable sometimes. So you'll fold all of this out. And that gives us our Sideswipe in robot mode. And I'm terrible at guessing this. We'll give you a little change. So you can kind of see what we got going on here. Very much movie Sideswipe and very much movie aesthetic. He's a little bit thin. He's wearing a lot of his car as shell, and that's pretty much how it goes. If you want a more correct look, you can digigrade the legs, but I prefer not to. I don't like digigrade legs. I think it looks awkward. But there you go. A little bit of robot mode for you. We'll do the traditional thing and zoom in on the head. I like the head sculpt on Sideswipe. It's very sharp and angular. I really like the look of it. It is kind of a quintessential movie style head where it's very sharp, it's very broken up, but there is enough coherency to it to actually give it a unique look and personality. Like, that is not mistakable as any other movie character. That is Sideswipe. So that one I do like. The nice thing that movie toys tend to do is their transformations rely so much on panels and kibble that the robot mode actually tends to have a fair amount of new details shown that you didn't get in the actual vehicle mode. You can see the chest is made up of the front headlights, and the torso is pretty nicely done. There's a lot of sharp details around, a little bit more paint apps, and we can see more of that blue going through. It's a very, very weird shade of gray, blue. It's a strange color. The reason I really like this toy, no pipes in the hips. Those fake hydraulics ruined every Revenge of the Fallen Sideswipe toy because you couldn't pose the legs. Ugh, I hated it. Also, this one has a nice advent of these gigantic pieces behind his feet, which keep him nice and stable and retain the look of him just having wheels for feet. So I think it's a nice way of maintaining his original intended design and still creates something that works and actually manages to stand up under his own power and not give in to the forces of physics and gravity and all that. Yeah. So this is actually one of my favorite designs out of the movie toys. Like, I think it's a lot more distinct than a lot of the movie toys end up being. And he's got a lot more personality, which does partially come from the fact that he has flip-out blades on his arms. I do like that the engineering now allows these to be a single piece rather than two pieces coming together. I think it's much cleaner engineering, much more solid looking. It's just overall better. Makes the toy more fun to play with. For articulation, we do have a head with a ball joint, but not a whole lot up and down. Left and right's plenty of range, though. Full ball joints in the shoulders, as well as a bicep swivel, and an almost, just a hair shy of 90 degrees, but we will take it. See, we also have very good range in the hips. I'm very thankful these hips actually work compared to the other Sideswipe toys. The thigh rotation, and you'll notice the seat is the back of the thigh, but it does not interfere with any of that. Great engineering there. You also have the digigrade legs. I hate these things. But, you know, it's movie accurate. You can hunch them over that way, and that's about as far as the digigrading goes, but you also have that far back and that far back. So if you want to use it as normal knees, they can be normal knees as well. And there's a lot of play in both the back piece, the kibble, and the front toe, so you can adjust his pose and get him to balance a lot better. He doesn't have a waist articulation, which I find a lot of movie toys kind of suffer from, but, you know, it's not all going to be perfect. I am happy because he does have a lot going for him, and he can perform some pretty cool poses no matter what. It really is. Like, he fixes a lot of the problems I had with previous Sideswipes, like both of the deluxes and the Human Alliance, which you remember I both liked and disliked for various reasons. And one of the main reasons I disliked it were those stupid hips. But that's not an issue here, and it makes me very happy. Now, of course, because he is Dark of the Moon, and because he has it in vehicle mode, the gun also works in robot mode. There's still no way of holding the blade out, but when he's got two built in, why would you need extra blades? I think it's a good weapon for him. Like, he's not known for heavy firearms. You know, he was much more of a sword-wielding character. Or, you know, like pistols if he actually had to shoot anything. But I do like the weapon for him. It's kind of a nice contrast from this very sleek ninja-like robot and this very, very sleek vehicle mode and blades hanging off the arms. You know what? Screw this. I'm shooting everything in front of me at the same time. It's a bit of a tone shift, and that's kind of what it needed as far as weaponry and gimmick. And I think that's one of the reasons I liked the Dark of the Moon toys more than I expected to, because the gimmick got allocated to an extra piece, and it didn't interfere with the toys at all, leaving them to be much better engineered than most previous movie toys. I mean, still kibble issues, but, you know, you can't have everything on a movie figure. I'm happy just to have it as this. I would like that smokestack up top to actually be there instead of just this, like, 4-ring thing behind his head, but, you know. Even when we come close to perfection, some other parts go farther away. That is my favorite of the Sideswipe toys from the movie line, and one of my favorite Dark of the Moon toys. There's a couple problems here and there, but for the most part, really nice vehicle, really good robot. It's playable, posable, all around. Better than I expected, which was a lot of my opinion of Dark of the Moon. You know, movie aside, I think that met all of my low expectations.